but I'm going to show you 3 quick ways to give yourself some feedback about what your mix room really is doing to the sound. There's 3 different ways. We're going to do easy and medium, and then I'm going to tell you about the hard way or the advanced way. And if you have a particularly geeky friend or you yourself want to dive into some geeky stuff, the advanced way is here as well. But we're not gonna do that one today. So the easy way is just a simple frequency sweep. You can use the tone generator inside of Live to do this, and then listen to the boosts and cuts that happen when you play it back. I'm going to give you a live set that has these tools in it, and I'll show you how they work in just a second. So essentially, you're going to generate a tone and then connect a microphone. I've got a cheap $50 Behringer ECM 8000. I've got a picture of it on the next page, and it's in the outline as well. And it's just a super flat omnidirectional mic. It's not something I would probably use in a recording session. Maybe it'd be a nice room mic, but it's made for testing, really. And you connect that back into Live so that you're listening with the microphone to what's coming out of your speakers. Right? The microphone is monitoring what is coming out of your speakers. So if you know what you're playing has a flat frequency response, say it's pink noise or maybe a sine sweep, which we'll do both in just a second, and you know what the signature of that looks like, and then you monitor it with a microphone in your room and analyze what is actually being heard in the room, then you have a pretty good idea of what the difference between what's playing back and what's being heard looks like. And you can compensate for it in a number of different ways. So let's jump over there and have a quick little look. Okay, here we are in Live. This is really simple setup. I'm just going to walk you through the set here. I've got 2 tracks. They're both audio tracks. This track is the sound source, and this track here is the return or the microphone. You can see the microphone input here, and I'll tap on you're not hearing the actual input of that microphone. I'm speaking into a vocal microphone, but it's there, and it's coming out my speakers, and it's monitoring what's coming out my speakers and my voice at the same time. So I've got a spectrum on each of these tracks. Okay, so when I play, I'm going to blow this up a little bit. This is on you can blow both of these up just by double clicking them. On the pink noise track, or the test track, I really should call it, I've got a sine sweep here. Let me play that back for you. It's going to be a little bit intense if you have your speakers turned all the way up, so get ready. Relatively flat in terms of amplitude. Okay, now I'm going to switch over into, this is the listening mic, and I'm going to move this microphone a little bit closer to me here. You can't see that part, but it's happening. And I'm going to play that same sine sweep back, and this time we're going to be monitoring what's coming back from the speakers into the omnidirectional microphone, into Live, and through this particular spectrum. All right, let's check it out. Okay. Fairly different. Not too bad. There's a little bit of a notch here around 1K, and there's some very strange weirdness going on down here in the low end. All right, we've got a resonance here at about 100 hertz. Another one up here at 137, and there's these major dips, right, at 111. And then you got a steep roll off down to 60 a bit of a resonance down here at 48, and then a steep drop off. So that's the speaker's inability to actually, produce these frequencies down here. The speaker itself has a roll off built into it just by the nature of its size and abilities. It can't represent 26 hertz all that well. You need a pretty big speaker in order to represent 26 hertz pretty well. Okay, so this is useful information. When I'm mixing in this room, I know that something close to 50 hertz has got a bump, and notice that it's an octave higher, 100 hertz has got a bump, and then where's 200? There's 200. It's got a little bump there as well. So that's because of the dimensions of the room that I'm in. Okay? Pretty easy. If you want to do that with the internal tone generator, that's here in the audio page of preferences. And you can click on the tone frequency right here. And what I'm doing right now is you can use the arrow keys. You can use the mouse. It's a little bit jumpy. But with the arrow keys, you can jump up and down. And like many, many values in Live, if you hold down Shift and use the arrow keys, now it's going very, very slowly. And I'm just going to hold down Shift and arrow up on my keyboard and listen to what happens. Okay, so that'll sweep right through, and unfortunately the spectrum is covering up what's happening here. Let's move it out of the way here. Right, so same thing, same idea as the sweep here, but you can use either. Great. That's the easy way. And if you forget this routing, it's pretty straightforward. Let me go back to it here. You don't need an input. This one's going to the master output. This one's just monitoring a particular input on my sound card. It's in monitor in mode, so we don't have to be in record ready in order for it to take the signal. And I've actually got it turned down on my board so it doesn't feed back on itself. So, all right. Here's the intermediate way to do it. Not much harder and just as useful. All right, we're going to generate some pink noise in the room. I've included a particular file. It's pink noise is a file that is equal amplitude and equal frequency across the entire spectrum. All right, as opposed to white noise, which is random frequency and random amplitude across the entire spectrum. So when you're tuning between radio stations, what you're hearing is white noise, right? Chaos. Pink noise is very organized noise, and it's used for testing because it is covering the entire frequency spectrum equally at a equal leveled amplitude. It's happening at a particular volume. We're going to talk about volume in just a minute. Test microphone at the mix position, routed into Live, same way we just did before. We're going to spectrum analyze the incoming signal versus the outgoing signal, same thing as before. But this time we're going to use a different plugin. It's a freeware plugin by a company called Voxengo. It's a nice guy out of Czech Republic. I've talked to him a couple times on email. Super nice guy. And the plugin is known as Span. And it's easy to find and easy to grab. It's just an improved spectrum analyzer. And once you have this information, you can move your speakers around and use room treatments to flatten out the frequency response of your room. You just try different things, put bookshelves up, hang a tapestry, put a couch in the room, hang acoustic panels like the Prime Acoustic stuff, and try different things till you can flatten out your room in various ways. So there's lots of theory out there on how to do the treating aspect. I've given you a couple excellent links in the outline about that. And let's just check out the pink noise here. Same idea. Pink noise is a much broader spectrum, so it's going to be harder to listen to me talk underneath this, but I want to show you. Okay, that's what it sounds like. Over here on the master channel, I've got the Voxengo Span. And the reason I'm using this is because it will actually take in two inputs at the same time, both from the outgoing and the incoming or returning. And you'll notice that the audio 2 here is set to this sub routing of Voxengo 3.4. It's a little bit tricky to set up, but if you follow the help docs, you can figure it out. Here's the great big Voxengo span interface. It kind of almost goes off the screen. That's just part of it. But anyway, let me play this again. Trying to get them to be similar amplitude there, and you'll notice the difference in them. I got a screenshot here so you don't have to actually deal with this playing through your speakers, but here we are. Once I got them leveled out to a similar amplitude, this is what it looked like. So green is the outgoing, fairly flat, and the peach color there is the return, so what's coming through the microphone. And there's that same information telling you this similar story about the frequency response. A little bit more detailed. You get a couple different resonances in here than with the tone sweep, but there you go.